everybody? Thanks for watching and welcome to my first DVD on meditation. So we're going to get into this video and really get into what meditation really is. How does it really work? And how is the spiritual nature of meditation related to how our energy works, how our energy flows in the body? You know, how does it really affect the brain? Does it really affect the brain? I mean, when we get into meditation, it tends to border on the side of spookiness. There's a lot of mysticism involved, a lot of spiritual stuff involved, so a lot of people don't really get it. And we talk about chakras and we talk about, energy flow and everything like that. What does that really entail? Does it really work? How to start? So we're going to get into all that and a lot more in this video so you can really understand how this stuff really works, how it affects the brain and works as far as restoring energy to your body and much more. There's a lot of stuff we're going to get into in this video, so let's start. So now we discussed energy and how our body organs, our body cells that repair us live off of this energy, our body's energy, and it repairs us, while we are asleep. So when you go to sleep, you get a recharge of your body's energy. And, let's say that, when you are awake, you use a certain amount of capacity for your body's energy. And then when you sleep, it is recharged. So we got to look at this and understanding meditation and how the body energy works, because this is, very important to really getting into meditation. So let's look at it like this. So let's say when you are born with a body charge, a body battery, let's just say, of about 300 years. So if you are able to hold on to the power that you have at birth, let's just say, then you can live to about 300 years. And I'm going by 300 years because the oldest person recorded as living lived to be 256 years old. So, rounded up to 300, I'll say. So let's say you born with this body battery of 300 years, right? And with the right knowledge and with the right teaching from birth, you are able to sustain this same battery, up to 300 years of life, before you die. So now the average person comes into this knowledge that we're speaking about now, into understanding, by the time we do that, by the time we come into this knowledge, the average person, the body battery goes from about 300 years down to about 120 years. So you got about 120 years of body battery. And if you, at that point in life, go on to, meditate and eat right, exercise, live right and everything like that, live stress-free, then you could have about 120 years of this battery life if you don't gain any more power and get the knowledge to sustain yourself further. Let me put it this way. So now 120 years, let's just look at it like this. Now, let's say you're meditating, you're doing everything right, and during a typical day, you go out with 120 years. Beginning of the day, as soon as you wake up, you got 120 years. Now, by the end of the day, let's say you lose 3 years of body battery energy. It's just gone 3 years. So you're down to 117 years of life to go. So when you go to sleep, because you are in such good shape, your body is able to recharge you from 117 back up to 120. So you get a full recharge back to 120. And you will repeat this cycle as long as you stay in good shape, you eat right, you meditate and everything like that. You will repeat this cycle for 365 days. So for a year. So after 365 days, when a year passed, you lose 1 year of the 120. So the next year you begin at 119, so on and so forth, all the way until you deplete, your time, unless you gain the knowledge to sustain yourself further. So, the average person usually comes into this knowledge around, if you come into this knowledge in your 20s, 30s, or 40s, instead of 120 years, you got about, 80, 90 years, 70, 80, 90 years to go. So this is where, the average body battery is at. And then you have some people who come into this knowledge, much later, and they can't really do what they need to do to get their body to the correct point to recharge. It's too much damage already. And by the time the damage is repaired, that takes about 30 years to do. So, it's really important that you come into this knowledge as soon as possible, which is why, in Tibet, they train the monks. The kids start training as monks very young. We've seen all the video of that. They train them young and get them into meditation young and eating right and understanding really young. So then they live, a very long time. It's a really, smooth, carefree life. We're going to get into that later on in the video. But, then, you have this body capacity of this battery of, years, over 100 years. And if you can sustain it and come into right knowledge, the knowledge that, they teach about in the occult, as we just got into, if you got the last DVD, then, you have the potential, to go even further. So those of you who are in your, 20s and 30s, you'll have about, 100 or 90 years or so, to go on to continue and get health. And it's, it's funny because in Genesis 6:3, it says that nobody will basically live past 120. And believe it or not, 120 is like the average age that a person lives who has good health, really good health. They live to about 120. People who have really good organs and good genes, they live about 120 years. And that's on average. Now, those numbers are dwindling, and we're going to get into, the many reasons why later on. But what you have to understand in meditation is how the mind works, the power of the mind. Meditation is the ultimate look in the mirror at yourself, because everything that is bothering you, the issues that you have, will come up in meditation as well as in the dream world. This is why I tell people to deal, with that stuff, because in meditation, in the dream world, your subconscious is trying to get you to really understand what the deeper problems are, something that you may be scared of, something that you may be thinking about a lot. You'll dream about it. You'll start to think about it, or a lot of people don't want to think about it. They want to keep it off their mind. Well, when you start meditating, your mind will go to those places, and it really wants you to deal with it before you can get down to business, as far as what your subconscious has planned for you. So that's important. So I tell people to go into meditation like, don't have no chores, don't have homework to do and stuff like that. Get all that stuff done. And that's like one of my biggest rules about, beginning meditation. You don't want to have nothing to do immediately, or soon, or you're going to dwell on it. It's going to come up in meditation. You're going to be worried about, I'm going to get a good grade on this test. Am I going to do well in this class? Or, I got to do the dishes, and did I run out of dish detergent and all kinds of stuff like that. That stuff will come up. It's a distraction in meditation. This is not what you should be focusing on. When you start meditating, you shouldn't have to be worrying about who's running around downstairs and is the kids okay? And you need to be in that place. You need to be, in good seclusion, a good mindset, and not having to dwell on these things. And you also need to know, about the power of meditation, that this stuff actually works, because a lot of people, they talk themselves out of success before they even start, because they have doubt, and doubt will definitely control you in the dream world, and as well as in meditation. People just sit down and they have no clue what they doing, and those doubts start to creep up in your mind, and it'll take you out of meditation, or it'll get you doing things that you're not supposed to do in meditation, which is we'll get into those things as well. I mean, it's a lot of stuff that I know a lot of you have questions about. Some of you may have read books, and I guarantee you most of those dudes have no clue either in whatever book you probably read. But we're going to get into the real facts about this stuff, because you have to know. If you don't get this stuff, and you go into meditation with doubts and aggravation and stress, you're doing yourself a disservice. You're wasting your time, basically. So you want to make sure that you understand the process and know what you expect out of meditation before you begin. So we have all heard about the placebo effect. And the placebo effect is basically when, most pills have absolutely no effect on people. You could take a pill and it will not affect you in no way at all. But for other people, they get the maximum effect of the pill or medication. Now, in certain people, they may take a pill that has no effect at all. And because they have faith in that pill, they believe in that pill, they convince themselves that this pill works, then their energy will go ahead and do the work and heal the problem, stop the pain from occurring. They have actually done a real study on the placebo effect, and they basically gave some patients real medication. Other people, they gave a dissolvent. And when they took the pills, the people who took the dissolvent, they really, before they gave them the pill, they really talked to them the most about the pill and how it works. They took a whole class and understood what affects the pain and how the pill actually works. But when they got the pill, they actually took a dissolvent that was basically nothing. And they actually measured that the pill worked for them. It wasn't the pill, it was them. It's their own energy that basically cured the pain because they actually believed that it would work and they understood the process. And when they took the pill, their energy just, acted accordingly and actually healed the problem, stopped the pain from occurring. So this is basically the same with meditation. And it's not saying that you got to do something fake or psych yourself out. It's getting your brain to understand, getting you to understand the process and how it works and what you expect from it. So, with meditation, again, if you don't really get it, if you sitting down and you don't understand what's taking place and you don't know what to do next, then you're not going to have the correct, comfortable experience that you are supposed to have. Now, a lot of people think that I'm an expert when it comes to religion and stuff like that. To me, I'm really more qualified to deal with meditation and how the brain works and body energy more than or around the same as religion, because I have studied both of them hand in hand. I've been successfully meditating for over almost 13 years now, and I've probably only missed about 9 days of meditation in 13 years. That's a fact. And me doing my travels and talking to people and being able to go to Tibet and talk to monks there, going to Thailand and stuff like that, I got a lot of education. Okay, so now we're about to get into this really, really deep. And let me give you a warning before we move forward. It's going to get kind of not really graphic or really crazy, but we're going to get into some sexual themes and talk about some sexual things on a scientific level, nothing kind of crazy. We're just going to get into stuff. If you watch my videos, I'm not one of them balls. I don't get all crazy like that, but we're going to get into some scientific sexual things that's going to kind of go deep into sexuality, but not nasty or anything like that. But just so you don't be super shocked, like what the hell, understand what we're going to talk about. And of course, it's going to make sense and you're going to get a really better understanding. And the key is a lot of people don't understand that, how sexuality relates to spirituality is a huge relation, and we're going to get into why and how. So, let's begin. Let's get into this. So now, a lot of people, don't know what to expect from meditation. I mean, what exactly do you expect to get? You sit down, you close your eyes, and it's like, now what? What do I do? So a lot of people don't really get it. A lot of people don't understand how it works. And some people try to just fake the funk and, act like and do what they seen on TV, and they really don't get it. And this is the main problem. And it's tough for us because we don't have no people in the hood, really teaching black folks how to meditate and how this stuff really works. And then you go to the white people and they doing it wrong too, but it just seems like they doing it right because they got the money behind it. They got the building and the mats and everything like that. It seems like they get it. Meanwhile, you got some monks in Tibet and Thailand that's, they meditating outside on rocks, sitting on pebbles and stuff like that. And they getting it. They getting the power because they understand. And the problem with us is because we live in this, materialistic world, And we think everything has to be about matter and, reality every time. We don't make the conscious connection between our thoughts and stimulation. And this is the problem. We don't make that connection. We don't see that thought can actually stimulate our body in many different ways. Now, if I was to say to you, meditate, get into meditative state, relax, clear your mind, focus, and just try to dwell on the best sex you ever had in your life. The best sex ever. I mean, everything that led up to it, all the details, every step of the way. And if you was to do that, then you will become stimulated by that thought, not just, mentally, but, physically as well. And because this sex actually happened and actually occurred, your body can recall it. It can remember, how it went down, how it felt. You mean the whole experience, and the stimulation of that is more intense than if I was to say, fantasize about a person you would want to have sex with. And, the manifestation of that, the thought of that, the stimulation wouldn't be as intense or the same as it would be what sex you actually had. It's a little bit different. And what you have to understand what's taking place here is you have a mental stimulation, information, knowledge that you are projecting, that is actually causing a physical occurrence. And that is unbelievable. Now, this is what the Bible is talking about when it speaks of arrogance. Whenever the Bible speaks of arrogance, most of the time, it's speaking about arrogance of self. Now, you are causing actual stimulation with your thoughts. That is amazing. Now, men, we all know that if you see the right thing, if you think about the right girl, that thing going to stand up. It's going to salute it really fast. The same thing with women. Is going to get wet really quick. This is action taking place. Mental stimulation is causing action, a reaction with your body. That's an amazing thing. That is power. And it's something we have, become arrogant of and just come to look at it as something that is completely normal when it's really an amazing thing. And we haven't been taught, what that entails and what that's really about. To put it into context, just imagine if every time you seen a bird, you would start levitating. Every time you thought of a bird, you start levitating. Now, of course, you would say, well, a bird is it's not connected with our body. So, that's why it doesn't happen that way. And the thing is, show me the organ or show me the vein or the nerve that is connected from the penis to the brain. Technically it doesn't exist. So when you go and you look at just this entire thing in context, you having a mental stimulation, either from you watching something or thinking about something, and it is actually causing an occurrence in your body. Can you connect that? I mean, just think about that. That thought is causing physical movement in your body. It is thought. If you just, as I said, sit there and start thinking about sex and great sex, the right sex or, the wrong sex or whatever, stimulation occurs, arousal occurs, and it's all taking place from thought. This is something really powerful that we're going to get into because I want you to understand how this works. It is one of the keys to understanding meditation. And it's one of the reasons why you're going to understand why there is a connection with sex and religion. If you haven't figured that out yet, a huge connection, which we'll get into a little bit here. And you'll understand why some things are the way that it is and why, I don't care what yoga or meditation class you step into, they are not going to teach you this. So you're not going to get that mental understanding of how meditation is working and what the purpose of it is and what it can do for you. Because once you know that and you know the steps and what's taking place and what you expect from it, you can get what you want out of it and get to the points. Get to the power that you want, get to the result you want from meditation. And this is how meditation was taught to me, exactly how I'm teaching it to you right now. I was put on to these things and had to really, study and understand them to get it. And when I say something is spooky, I don't know how the rest of the people use the spooky term. I use it in context as something that's outside of nature or outside of, what's natural to the body. So when people want to talk about chakras, which we'll also get into in here and stuff like that, and how it relates to, to help you get money and stuff like that and everything, how it's supposed to affect my body. How is that possible? So when you get into stuff that has to do with energy or some kind of power or magic, you want to know the technical terms, the technical way that this is going to affect my body and cause whatever outcome that you're talking about, whatever power that you're talking about. If you don't know this, it's going to stay in your mind as a spookiness or as something that may be possible or something that you have doubts about. Therefore, you won't get the full understanding. You won't get the full effect of meditation or whatever it is that you're trying to do or focus on, whether it be meditation or just understanding anything. If you don't know how it works, it won't work for you. Now, there is a nerve that basically connects to the brain, but it's not connected directly to the brain. So that nerve is the dorsal nerve. The dorsal nerve is attached to the deep parietal nerve, which eventually attaches to the sacral nerve, which is attached to the lower base of the spine, that part that looks like a tail. So what happens is when you have sexual thoughts, the brain basically sends an electrical signal down the spine and it reaches these nerves and it eventually causes, arousal or, for you to become, stimulated. And it's basically the same with women, except for women have different nerves. Like women have the pudendal nerve. They have the vagus nerve. They have the pelvic nerve. So these nerves is stimulated again from the brain, sending an electrical signal down the spine, and it causes stimulation in a woman to get aroused. Now, with women, it's different because women, they have way better orgasms than men because they release way more hormones than we do. And they release more powerful doses of dopamine and such. And also women can have orgasms through the clitoris and vagina, where men, we just, we stuck with our penis. So, girls is lucky. So, this is stimulation that is major. And we all know that it's major. Those of you who are not virgin still for whatever reason, it's a major stimulation, the most amazing feeling that we get naturally from the body that is stimulated from the brain, that can be stimulated from the brain as well as other things, as we know. But and the reason why I say eventually it'll get to the spine is because all these nerves that I mentioned is also attached to a few other nerves before it eventually gets to the spine. I want to go through all the names because there's quite a few. But eventually it makes its way through the spine. And of course, the electrical signal is sent down the spine and it reaches these nerves and causes stimulation. Now, for the women, the pudendal nerve and the pelvic nerve and the vagus nerve basically stimulates the vagina, the clitoris, the cervix, and the rectum. And we know for men that, we have a use other than, sexual use for our penis. We use it for other things as well. For a woman, and as I talked about before, what a man's penis is basically an elongated clitoris. But the clitoris in a woman has no function at all. Its only use is for pleasure. That's it. That's no other use for it. But you need to understand how this mental stimulation is occurring and causing power. This electrical signal I'm talking about is, this ain't no normal shit. That's power that is sending down the spine and causing this stimulation. Now, you can almost call it an addiction. And the reason why it's doing that is because the great stimulation it gets from it. And it's almost an enticement for the conscious mind or subconscious mind to send out this energy. Because to put this in perspective as well, just think about, you growing a sixth toe. Why can't I send energy down, to make that happen, or to make my toe wiggle, or, to make, something else happen with the body? If you was to sit and think consciously about moving in any other organ on your body, it just won't happen. The energy won't be sent to that place to do it. This is something that you will have to, really just make happen, on your own, make your hand move or walk or what have you. We know the subconscious mind does take over at times of consciousness and does certain things. We call it reflexes. But, most of the time, this is stuff you got to make happen on your own. But with sexual arousal, it's such an amazing thing that they picked up on in the ancient world. And it's all in the Bible, especially in the Catholic Bible, which we'll get into a little bit. It really gets into this stuff and it hides it very well. And because it's power, it is real power that we can actually tap into and use to influence our body. And it's something that we don't think about because of all of the, weird stuff that goes along with it. And our society has made it weird for us to talk about these kind of things, this sexuality and stuff like that. Some people become uncomfortable and, it's something that you really need to know about and know how it functions so, you can move forward. So now one of the major reasons why we got into all this sexual stuff is because it's really important, because every time you have sex, every time you are stimulated or aroused sexually, you are tapping into a part of the brain that is very close to the third eye, very close to the pineal gland. So let's get into this because this is really deep stuff that I got to break down so we can understand. Now, in the Mental Nectar series, we got into the hippocampus. Now, the hippocampus is basically located in the temporal lobe, and it is responsible for your spatial position. Remember, I talked about how it's responsible for, you walking and, walking straight on this planet, and it is affected by, liquor and everything like that. But, hippocampus is basically Greek for it translates into horse, sea monster. That's basically what it translates into. And when you break it down into English, you get seahorse, because a horse sea monster is a seahorse. And they call it a seahorse because it is shaped like a seahorse. The hippocampus, when you take a look at it, as you can see, is basically shaped like a seahorse. Now, when you have these thoughts, when you have this stimulation that occurs, the conscious mind basically influences the energy in your body to reach the hippocampus. And when it reaches the hippocampus, this stimulation, this energy travels down the hippocampus, down something that is basically called the choroid plexus. The choroid plexus is these little fibers, these little hairs that travel down the hippocampus, and they reach into the hypothalamus, and that's basically into the deeper lower part of the brain that is near the pineal gland and everything. Now, we all heard that term. People use it a lot. That says, think with the big head, not the little head, implying that, the penis has a brain and it thinks on its own. Now, you're going to understand why a lot of people say that. Now, the choroid plexus, those little fibers that I was talking about that travels down the hippocampus, it travels down the hippocampus and it reaches the fornix. Now, the fornix is basically next to the choroid plexus, and next to that, we have the pineal gland. So we're talking about all this stuff is occurring very close to the pineal gland. Your fornix is what's it basically sends the electrical signal down your spine to reach your, your genitals, your pelvic area, what have you, all those nerves that we talked about earlier. So this is where the sexual stimulation comes from, the fornix. And yeah, of course, this is where they get the word fornication or, porn eventually and everything like that, because it has to do with sexual stimulation. Also, because women also have a fornix in the top end of their vagina. So this is another reason why they use that word fornix. It all comes from the brain. So that little head that it's talking about, this is where that brain really is, it's, in the big brain. So we have all this energy taking place. And, if you read Genesis 32:30, it says, and Jacob called the name of the place Peniel, for I have seen God face to face and my life is preserved. Now, we know that God is basically the black woman. The pineal gland is also considered God, or the power of God, or the third eye. And then we have sex. So what you have to understand is, in Latin, the word for fornix translates into vault or arch. What is Rome famous for? The Roman arches, the vaulted ceilings. So what does this have to do with sex? Well, in ancient Rome, the prostitutes was basically forced to only be able to solicit people underneath the Roman arches that was located near the entrance of the cities. So basically, prostitutes can only pick up customers underneath the archways. And again, this is all of a sexual nature. Women have a fornix, the top end of the vagina, and fornix dealing with fornication and the energy where the sexual arousement is coming from. The energy is coming from the brain, that part of the brain. So when you look at all these things, it all deals with sex. It all has a sexual nature. And for anybody who is in the know, you already understand that Roman Catholicism is basically all about sex. It's about sexual positions. It has it's heavily associated with Mary and not so much Jesus. This is why we see here Jesus putting the crown of thorns on Mary and Mary having the holes in her hand instead of Jesus, because the woman is really, the real God, and Catholicism is really about her and not about Jesus really too much. It's just, it's what it is. It's what's hidden in there. The end of the That's Game, the Bible and Christianity Finally Explained video, when I got into the women and I was talking about how the Bible is really talking about her. That's in the King James Version. But when you get into the Catholic Bible, it's really getting into the power of the woman and, all the stuff that deals with the woman and her power. See, the Romans understood the power in sex, what that entails. It's a lot deeper than I'm going to get into here, but I do have a video that's probably going to come out later on. It's going to deal with the hidden sexual suggestions in the Bible as well as in the Catholic Bible, because that's really deep and it gets into a lot that deals with energy. And we're really going to get into that deeply down the line when I get into that video. But, they got the stuff from Kemet. And we understand a lot of you probably seen the hieroglyphics, the real sexual ones, the freaky ones that's in Kemet. They have a lot of them because they understood the power in sex. Now, if you understand, one, what is taking place as far as the mental stimulation and energy that is being produced when you are having sex or thinking of sex or being aroused, by the thought of it, this is power that's taking place. This is actual power that we can tap into. We can't tap into no other power or influence our brain in any other way consciously to have a physical stimulation. It's just not possible other than sex. It is amazing. And the ancient Egyptians understood that, and they had all kinds of rituals. And there's a lot of things that's dealing with sex that we will look at in today's society as being taboo and weird and crazy and stuff like that. So we don't deal with it. And they made it that way so we don't deal with it because they don't want us tapping into that power. The Egyptians understood it, and later the Greeks, being there, came along and started getting into it and understanding it. And you see all they little freaky shit they got. And we know when the Romans got together with the Greeks during the whole Greco-Roman thing, when they got the information, they basically carried it on and coded it into the Catholic Bible. But that's where they basically got the knowledge from. And they got the understanding that it's so much power and sex and everything like that. So the Greeks just copied it and they took it to town basically. And it's a lot deeper than I'm getting into here, but something we'll get into, down the line. So now let's get back into this information and understand again what's taking place here. You're having this conscious thought of a sexual nature that is basically sending energy. So you have consciousness. Think about what's taking place. Consciousness, which is basically nothing physical. It's not physical. It is basically causing energy. It is speaking to your energy and telling your energy to send this signal to the hippocampus. And the hippocampus sends it down the choroid plexus via these little fibers to the fornix. And the fornix basically puts it out down the spine, and you become stimulated or aroused because the energy is reaching your nerves. So now understand also the choroid plexus also goes, those little fibers goes deeper into the brain and reaches other parts of the brain as well. And other things are stimulated. We know not just sexually, but through other means. The hippocampus is not just, or the choroid plexus is not just about, sexual energy, but it also travels to other parts of the brain as well. So now those fibers are really, really important. And it's just basically like the fibers you have in your home or in your computer, like, fiber optics and stuff like that. This is basically where they get the idea from, those fibers in the brain. And we already know the computer is basically based off, the human brain. It's based off of it. So, that's basically, what happens when you get stimulated. You have the thought, you become aroused, and, whatever happens after you get aroused, whatever happens after that. So now with meditation, what do you expect to happen? What do you want from meditation? Most people would say, well, I just want to get, relaxed. I want to be relaxed and have relaxation and, try to get stress, out of my life. And, meditation will definitely help you with that, but that's not really the purpose for meditation, which meditation has many other purposes and things that can help you. The main thing for meditation is for you to basically, ignite your chakras. And I know a lot of people say that, chakras, what the hell does that really mean? And we're going to get into that. But, a lot of people also say, I want spiritual enlightenment with meditation. What the fuck does that really mean? Spiritual enlightenment. I mean, your spirit is already enlightened. Your conscious mind, the spirit that you have, the energy, knows everything it needs to know. All the information of the universe is contained within it. Trust me, you can never reach that point through meditation. It takes a lot more than just meditation. So a lot of people want spiritual enlightenment, but what they really mean to say is they want conscious spiritual enlightenment, because your conscious self is not what's enlightened. It's what you need to get enlightened. You want the knowledge, and you can obtain that through meditation, which we'll get into. But understanding the chakras, and we got into this, and we talked about how when you go to sleep, that your body is recharged, and you wake up, you feel good. And this is why it's good to know about energy, because people don't understand the importance of having a really good bed, mattress, because energy transfer is, it's easier when you have a comfortable sleep. When you got a good bed and you get a nice rest or a good sleep. I mean, sometimes the damn sofa is more comfortable than the bed, depending on what kind of sofa you got. But you get a really good sleep and you wake up and you just feel like a brand new person. That means you had a really good energy transfer during sleep, and you got, really recharged. And we know the chakras is supposed to be aligned with the spine. And we're going to really get into what that really is, what that really means in a second. But if you are laying in a contorted position during sleep, that's uncomfortable, that's not right, then, you're not going to get that full energy transfer, because when your body is recharging itself, just like it sends the signals down the spine for sexual arousal, it does the same thing with stimulating your body and healing it, giving you more energy. That energy travels down the spine and reaches the parts of your body. And, if you have a really good bed, you can make sure this transfer is done correctly. It's right. Spend money on a damn bed, people. Like, god damn, people would be so cheap. I'm just going to sleep on anything. I can sleep on a rock. Spend money on the bed. Get the correct bed. Make sure it's comfortable and soft, so you can get this correct transfer of energy. Now, we've all heard about the 7 chakras. Everybody know about them. I have talked about them briefly in my video on energy. Now, it is really important to understand the 7 chakras, but a lot of people don't get the spiritual meaning behind it. Like I said, when you get into 7 chakras and stuff like that, people tend to look at it as spooky, because it has a lot to do with spirituality and energy and stuff like that. So a lot of people can't really understand that. So when we talk about 7 chakras, I mean, what exactly is that? I mean, when you look at the root chakra, I mean, they talk about stuff like, helps you get money and helps you with finances and stuff like that. But like really, how does that work? So you have a bunch of people, I promise you right now, millions of people who are meditating and have absolutely no clue what they are doing. But, a lot of people are hyped up about the chakras, and, what is that really about? Now, we know about 7 chakras. Me personally, I say there are 4 chakras, if you want to call them chakras. They get the 7 chakras from the 4 sections of the spine. And those 4 sections are basically the cervical, the thoracic, the lumbar, and the sacral. Now, from these 4 sections, you have about 7 different I guess you can call them like, nerves, major nerves, but I'm not really going to get into those because we would have to concentrate on that. What you need to understand is from these four sections, the thoracic, the lumbar, the sacral, and the cervical. From these four sections, you basically have nerves. You have these little fibers and nerves basically stretching out all throughout your body and reaching to different parts of your body. So from these four sections, which control different parts of the body, as you can see here, that little tip down there, that CD is the caudal end, the tail, that's the end of the spine. But from these four sections, you have nerves that basically control everything, your entire body, all the way from the neck down. So this is why, people have severe spinal damage. They are paralyzed from the neck down, and depending on where you have spinal damage at, you could be paralyzed in certain parts of the body. So, we understand that the spine is very, very important. Now, when you really pay attention, just like how we talked about how energy flows down the spine with the brain stimulating your sexual organs, it's the same thing with your entire body. Everything begins from the spine. Now, we know with conscious thought of a sexual nature, you can influence the hippocampus to send an electrical signal down the choroid plexus to the hypothalamus, where you have the fornix at, and the fornix will eventually send this electrical signal down the spine to your genitals or what have you, causing stimulation. So now with meditation, you are not sitting there really, necessarily thinking about anything sexual. You are letting your mind wander in the darkness, and wherever it takes you, it takes you. If it's sexual, it's sexual. If there's stimulation occurs, it will occur. But really what you're trying to do is you're trying to get the same result as a stimulation, sexual stimulation. You want to get the same result for what you are thinking about, for what you are doing. This is basically, talking to the universe is what you are doing when you get into deep meditation. You are talking to the universe. This is what we mean by put it out to the universe. So when you let your mind wander, and eventually your subconscious will project to you what you need to work on or what you need to change in your life. You will dwell on these things as well. And this is putting it out to the universe, basically. So what you want to happen is you want the third eye to basically begin to open up and to send electrical signals down the spine and, throughout all of these places in the body. So it will basically cause, remember, you have the dormant cells that regenerate your body, and they are sleeping while you are conscious. So after a while with meditation, you being in that meditative state, your pineal gland will eventually awaken these cells to regenerate your body while you are in the meditative state, thus, recharging your body during consciousness, during daytime, instead of when you go to sleep. Now, what you are trying to do is you are trying to influence the pineal gland to understand that you are in darkness and that it can work. It can do what it's supposed to do because you are in darkness. You are trying to simulate the sleep state, the dream state, which is basically darkness, your eyes closed, and you are in a, almost a still position for a while. And, eventually, the pineal gland will kick in. It's also the way that you try to communicate back to your subconscious to get it to understand, like, hey, I'm in this position, I'm in darkness, go ahead and do your thing. So this is why in the Bible it says, if you read 1 Kings 8:12, it says, "Then spoke Solomon, the Lord said that he would dwell in thick darkness." Amos 5:20 says, "Shall not the day of the Lord be darkness and not light, even very dark and no bright in it?" This is about meditation. This is what it's talking about. The pineal gland, being in darkness is how you get it to work. So if anybody's out there, you see meditating in the day or with a bunch of light in their face and stuff like that, they don't know what they're doing, because even if you do have your eyes closed, you can still, it's not the pitch blackness that you have when you are in deep sleep, when you're in your room with your lights closed. It should be no lights around you. If you notice anybody who's really into meditation, when they do meditate, if they have candles near them, the candles are almost off to the side or in a position where it's not reflecting on their face, This is how it's supposed to be done. Now, when you get to more advanced stages of meditation, you could kind of do, whatever, because, you got it down packed. The key is, one, you need to be in darkness. But the major thing, which is another one of my rules, one of the steps to meditation, is what you must do. You must set a schedule for meditation, and you must stick to that schedule. If you deviate from it, you're hurting yourself. But if, let's just say, you miss the schedule, don't meditate. Don't say, well, I'm going to do it an hour later. Just don't do it for that day. If you miss the time, forget it. Wait to the next scheduled date or time to actually meditate. What you are doing is you are setting your mind up to understand that at these specific times, there's going to be darkness. So you can do your job. I'm going to be simulating the dream state at these specific times. Now, you probably today, you go to sleep at a certain time. You probably got, your regiment down pack, or, your whole thing, what you do when you get up to go to work or what have you. You probably got a plan. I want to be to sleep by this time. I want to go to sleep around this time. So your body kind of knows usually at a certain time you start to get sleepy, because that's your normal sleep time. You want to have it the same way with meditation. A lot of times you don't be wanting to go to sleep, but because your body is so used to going to sleep at, 1 o'clock in the morning, 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock, or what have you, around those times, you start to get sleepy, and it's like, damn, I don't want to go to sleep yet, but, I don't have to work tomorrow, so I can really stay up if I want to. But your body is so used to you going to sleep, so it gets sleepy around those times. It's the same thing. You want to have the same effect with meditation, so you can basically get the subconscious mind to understand that at these times, it's times that you can go ahead and work and do what you need to do. So now, as you are meditating in repetition at certain times during the day, daily, you will start to develop that connection with your subconscious, and that's really important. You have to communicate back to it, because it's trying to communicate with you every night that you go to sleep, and you got to understand that. So you are letting it know that this is where we can communicate. We can communicate during this time, during meditation. And just like when you go to sleep, the dream world is projected to you at sleep. The subconscious will begin to do the same in a meditative state. At first, it won't be as clear, of course, as the dream world, because that is when you are under the complete control of the subconscious. But in meditation, you will basically almost have a 50-50 for a while, where the subconscious is kind of, projecting to you what you need to understand and allowing you to be conscious at that same time. So it's something that you really, got to deal with and really got to hold on to. But one of the key things, one of the problems I'm explaining with what's going to happen. One of the problems you are going to have is trying not to inject conscious thought. That is the biggest problem. That's going to be the issue, because you watch TV, a lot of you, and a lot of people they have real loud personalities, and some people just can't shut up for a long period of time. So it's going to be tough. And what's going to happen when you get into the meditative state? You have an inner voice. We all do. We all talk to ourselves internally. Now, what I mean by that is you'll be like, damn, that sounds like somebody at the door. Is that somebody at the door? Am I tripping? And we all had that voice, that's that internal voice when we speaking to ourselves about something. That voice is usually loud and it's clear, and it's you understanding that you are saying something internally. Now, the meditative voice is lower. It's more calmer. When you are visualizing instead of you projecting, the voice is much lower. So if you are, in thought and you are speaking that clearly to yourself, that's not meditation. That is you just, speaking to yourself. Meditation is you want to let it go and visualize more than actually, speak. So just visualize. Instead of you talking about something, just think about something. Think about you walking down the stairs, getting in your car and driving to, go get some ice cream or something like that. Just visualize that process, and everything that comes after it, whether it be a conversation or not, you'll see will be on the lines of quiet. It will be, that's the level you want to be at, where, it's not too much of a conscious thought that you are injecting into the meditative state. When you do that, that's too much consciousness right there. and your subconscious won't communicate. You have to kind of meet it halfway. It's tough. It's tough to understand. And you'll get it. You understand what I'm saying. If you're a person who thinks deeply, if you dwell a lot, or if you meditate, you understand what I mean by that calm, voice, instead of you vocally, saying to yourself, something, that's going on, something that's going on that you speak to yourself about inside your head. So you want to be able to differentiate between that calm voice and, the loud one. So eventually what you want to happen is you want to have, 50-50 of your subconscious and your conscious basically, getting together. You dwelling on things, your subconscious will eventually see that you are in this state, and it's going to project certain things out, and it's going to seem like it's you, but it's going to be really hard to tell if it's your subconscious or your conscious. I'm gonna get into that later. But once you are set and you're in set position, and I'm gonna get into posture later real briefly. A lot of people have many different ways that they get into posture for a meditation, but really it really don't matter as long as it's comfortable. But once you are in set position and you close your eyes and you get into meditation, you really want to just again let your mind wander. Don't dwell on anything outright specifically. You don't want to be like, damn, what am I going to eat for dinner? What the hell is in the kitchen to eat? I can go for a chicken Caesar salad. Damn, out of Caesar dressing. That's right. And this is not the stuff he's supposed to be dwelling on. You don't want to, take your focus off of meditating and put it on something that's not important. That's not meditation. That is you, as I said, really dwelling on something that's not really important. Let your mind wander. Let it take you to wherever it takes you, and you go from there. And I like to tell people, it's going to be tough for you to really let it happen naturally, because the mind tends to wander and, do its own thing, which is good, if it's wandering and doing its own thing without you, influencing it. But the mind tends to wander about stuff that you want. You tend to think about stuff outright. You want to be, you want to visualize and not vocalize. That is the key to it, really. Visualization, not vocalization, not trying to speak what you want to think, but just letting it happen, just visualizing it first and then letting it go from there. And, visualize, your goals, what you want to have in life, what you want to accomplish in life, and all the steps that you have to go through to get to this point, and take it from there. Let it go. That's you putting it out there to the universe, something positive that will come back to you eventually, and be realistic about it. The hurdles, what you need to do step by step. That's what you should start dwelling on in the beginning, things like that. And if it's anything that's going to keep you from that, the subconscious after a while will eventually take over, and it will make you dwell on those things. So now eventually, with much practice, after you keep meditating over and over again, and it takes a while, it takes time. It's going to seem like it's not working in the beginning, but you got to keep at it. This is something that you really have to realize, that your subconscious mind understands and it's picking up on. It understands what you are doing, and that you are trying to communicate with it. If you are not communicating, if you are not meditating, how do you expect to talk to something that only, acts in a meditative state or in a sleep state? It's the only way you can, really communicate with it. Now, in the dream state, when it's trying to communicate with you, you are not conscious. So you can't even understand that it's your subconscious communicating with you. Remember, let's go back to the Bible again. What is Jesus trying to tell you? He was telling you to go in. The kingdom of God is within you. Praying is all about meditation. That's all it is. When you pray, you are meditating. That's all it is. That's what it's about. That's how you speak to God, as the Bible tells you. But this is how you speak to the universe. You speak to your subconscious to basically give you the power to help you manifest what you want in life. So when you are starting to meditate more and dwell on what you want in life and the things you need to do and accomplish, and put it out to the universe, put it out to your subconscious, it will start to come back. And eventually what will happen is, once you start getting into these states and you have your subconscious begin to project to you in meditation, everything's going to change then, because then it's going to project on you your problems. And this is how you know that you are making communication with your subconscious. This is how you're going to know for sure, because then in meditation, your thoughts are going to go to problems in life. And that's going to be the issue, because some people are not going to want to dwell on those problems. They're not going to want to sit there and think about them. And it's your subconscious, again, trying to get you to think about those issues. So, if you got problems, if you got girlfriend, boyfriend problems, and you sitting in meditation and you dwelling on that, what's going to happen? Are we going to break up? Is he cheating? Is she cheating? And everything like that. All this whole scenario of y'all arguing and breaking up and possibly getting back together and all kinds of stuff like that. All this stuff is going to play out in your head because you need to deal with it. And your subconscious is trying to tell you, hey, we can't do nothing. We can't be cool until you deal with this stuff, because it's going to keep blocking me from you. So these are the things you got to deal with. And these are the things that will come up in meditation, and you need to deal with them in reality, in life. So when you meditate, you come to the table clear. This is what you have to do. So, after, repetition over and over again, this is what you'll see happen. And, you'll begin to communicate with the subconscious. Okay, so now let's get into posture and position. Now, we're not going to spend that much time on this because, as I said, it doesn't really matter what posture or what position that you sit in, as long as you are comfortable. That's what it's really about. It's comfortability. No position is really going to give you an advantage over the other, except unless if your back is bent. That is the key. You want to have a straight back. You want your back to be, in a straight up and down, position. You don't want to be hunched over, because then you are kind of, you're messing with the flow of energy. This is how, I sit. This is how I was taught, to sit with your back, straight as such. And, you stretch your arms, and before you even get into that position, you stretch your legs and everything like that. But, you stretch your arms and everything. And usually if I'm going to be meditating for, an hour or so or longer, then, my arms are straight out in the seated position. And, and I meditate, it's really simple. It's just that easy. So, don't get caught up in that. Don't get caught up in posture and position and everything like that. Sit somewhere where you are comfortable. You can sit, in a chair, and you can still meditate, feet flat and everything like that. But a lot of people get caught up in, what is the correct way? And it's really no super major correct way. The correct way is the most comfortable way. And that's the way, I was taught to be comfortable in meditation. So now, of course, you're not going to be meditating outside. You're not going to be meditating around all this light in the beginning stages of meditation. So, I'm here just to demonstrate, and this is where I usually come sometimes to get away, and not this close to the, traffic and everything like that. I usually go up to the mountains and everything a little bit higher. And it's easier up there, calmer, more quiet. But what you have to understand when you get into seated position is you want to get really comfortable, because, sit on a pillow. It was, when I went out there, it was still a little wet out there. You see I had mud on my hand and everything like that, pouring down for like a week here in California. So I sat on a towel out there, but just to demonstrate, I wanted to show you guys, you want to be in the beginning stages in a dark place where you can have some kind of seclusion. What I did when I started, like as I said, I started meditating, almost 13 years ago. Haven't missed more than 9 days, about 9 days exactly. I missed meditating in almost 13 years. So what you want to do is to really make sure that you are in a dark place that is quiet. No TV should be in the same room as you when you are meditating. Get TVs as far away from you as possible. If you can, and you're not going to really mess up nothing, if it's, unplug it, just keep them, any electronics away from you, phone, what have you, get it away from you, because that's another long story I want to get into, how it's going to really disrupt energy. What I did when I was when I started meditating, I turned my closet into my meditation place, because I was living in a small apartment, but I had a big ass walk-in closet. And I was really into meditation, still is, but I just, made some room in there and turned it into my place. Because when you shut the door in there, it got pitch black. It was so dark in there. Like you can't tell the difference when you open your eyes, from when you close your eyes. That's how dark it was in there. And in that, in that darkness, you can get a lot done there. You can really, it's like, almost like sensory deprivation where, the senses are just like, what the hell's going on? It's so dark and you don't know what to take from it. And it just take your mind into different places when you get quiet. So that is the best way to do it. If you can get, that kind of darkness or, get somewhere where you can be quiet. If you have to do it like in your living room and everything like that, it's not going to be good. I mean, you can practice and, try, but just knowing what I know about energy and how TV affects and disrupt your energy, it's going to be kind of crazy. You're not going to reach where you need to reach as far as meditation. And as we get more advanced into this, I'll explain why TV does interrupt that. But I don't want to get into it now because it entails a lot more I would have to speak on. But just know, be in a room, no TV. No radio, not in the same room as you. I do play music, but the music I play nature sounds. I have a record where, it's just the sound of waterfalls and nature. That's it. I play that in the living room while I'm meditating in the next room. And that gives you a good background sound. Now, I prefer people use that when they like a little bit more advanced. In the beginning, just nothing. Just try to get to that point where your mind is going to give you something in meditation that you don't have to manifest yourself. When you get it to the point where as soon as you get in meditation and you in there for like 2 minutes and boom, stuff start coming at you and you have something to think about that you didn't, consciously project, then, months and months of that is what you need. Now, in the next DVD, we'll start to get into crystals and, diodes and stuff like that. So you can understand how that works and get into water. Like how does water play a major role in meditation? If you look at a lot of monks when they meditate, they're usually near water a lot or near a waterfall. And it's a big reason for that. But we're going to get into all that in the next DVD on meditation. And you can understand a little bit more clear how this stuff works power-wise, because there's a lot of little things that can disrupt you that you don't understand. Just to put it into context, remember the bees they've been dying off for a long time, and it's not so much they've been dying off, they've been trying to find somewhere where it's not so much interference. The bees are highly sensitive to our phones, and our phones is really disrupting the bees, and they're getting lost and they can't find their way back to the hive and all kinds of stuff. And it's really messing with the insects, and the bats is basically saving us right now from almost being overrun by insects when you look at it. But we got to understand our brain works in the same way. It's energy. They changed the TVs over to digital for a reason, because we getting higher in frequency, and they understand this. And it's, everything they're trying to put out would disrupt the televisions is also going to disrupt us, and it has been disrupting us. And it's one of the weapons they use against us to disrupt us from having a really clear meditation or meditative state. So as you go along, eventually the subconscious will take over more and more and more. And you'll get to the point where you basically will have meditation, and you will have the same kind of meditation as you do with the dream world. But only this time, the subconscious will allow you to be conscious to witness what's going on. And it's some amazing stuff that you can see on a conscious level. And listen, when you start getting into this, when we get into this stuff more deep later on, it's amazing, because I want you to understand, what happens once you get to the point where you no longer have to, I don't want to say worry, but you're not dealing with so much, and your subconscious is not trying to get you to deal with so many different things. When you finally have basically, clear time to deal with, becoming enlightened and understanding knowledge, understanding the subconscious, what it shows you. Now, I've experienced a lot of things in my life. I'll be 35, January 28th. I've experienced a lot of stuff, ups, downs, more highs than lows, I can honestly say. And still to this day, I've been skydiving, skiing, mountain climbing, snorkeling, deep sea diving, and a whole bunch of stuff I've done in my life. That's amazing. Nothing to me is more amazing than a dream world. And I've always been obsessed with it since I was a little kid. Just, I remember, mom, I dreamed about, and just going on, to my mom about what I dreamed, and, just being excited. And she still talks about that to this day. You used to wake me up and about your dreams. And I really used to, Mom, look. And cause I was amazed, like, the stuff I could do at a young age. And, stuff I was just, witnessing. And I remember being young. I don't know how I still remember, but I do, like, around 4 or 5, like some of my dreams, like it's crazy. I remember clearly, like, the stuff I used to dream about, because I was watching Ninja Turtles and watching all kinds of stuff like that. And I was just dreaming about being one and being in a dream. And, the dream state, it's an amazing place to be in. Like, even when you're not conscious of it, it's amazing. And some of the stuff that goes on is just unbelievable. And the fact that you feel it, you feel what's going on. And there's this emotional attachment to certain things. And, when you wake up, it's just all like, back to reality. It's like, what was that? And in meditation, when the first time that I experienced the dream world, world kind of sort of simulation in meditation was unbelievable, because it's more clear, because you're conscious of it then. And this is where I'm at now, as far as my point in meditation. Like, if you remember the Matrix movie, of course you do. I always talk about the Matrix movie because it's an amazing movie. But remember, Neo was in the dream world, and the whole metaphor of that was, the rest of the people, the resistance, Trinity, and all those people, they wasn't as conscious as Neo was. They understood the dream world. They understood, it wasn't real and what was going on, but they couldn't become as fully conscious as Neo was. Neo could basically change and alter the dream world. He couldn't fully control the dream world. Remember, he could just fly and do all kinds of stuff like that, stuff we all can do in our dreams, but he did so consciously, being aware of it. And, Trinity and, the rest of the cast and everybody, they did amazing stuff too, like, in the Matrix, but it wasn't to the level, obviously, of Neo. But that was just the Wachowski brothers, or sisters, I should say by now, because they weirdos right now. If you read the book, they got into that. They talked about the dream world and how they mimicked it and what the Matrix was really about. They get into that in their book. And it's an amazing thing to be dealing with. And to me, it's like, this society, America, is so set up to take you away from that. We should be really trying to understand the most amazing thing that happens to our body, that happens to us, which is meditation and the possibilities of what we can do with it, instead of really focusing on who this damn president is and what Trump is doing and stuff like that, because that is just going to cause a bunch of chaos. And that's what they want. And we got to start realizing that and understanding that so many things that they put out is just to affect your energy and to make you unclear in meditation. It's all to disrupt your energy, disrupt meditation. That's what it's all about. Society is designed to disrupt meditation, period. And, to have you focused on school and focused on work and your kids and being healthy and, what you're going to wear to the club and what you're going to do about this and that, stuff that really don't matter on a spiritual level. Because we are so into the now, into, this material world, not thinking about the here and after, what's next. The main thing, the real stuff we should be really worried about. And, as I said, you can't take this stuff too seriously. You can still have fun and be a very, very spiritual person. A lot of people who know me know how I am and what I'm into and everything like that. And we always talk about when I meet a new person and they find out what I'm into, and it's like no way. But then when I talk, of course, I can talk and I know what I'm talking about. I blow people away. Happens a lot. A lot of people look at me and take one look and say, "This dude don't know nothing about meditation. This dude don't know nothing about Kemet. He don't know nothing about the Bible." And you get stereotyped based upon the way that you dress and look. I always carry myself, with dignity and respect. I don't I'm not no super ghetto person. You know, I come from the hood and everything like that, but I'm a really calm, respectable, you know, intellectual type of person. And, you know, but I like to have fun and joke around with friends and stuff like that. So sometimes, you know, people can't see the knowledge that you have. And I'm pretty sure you guys have the same issues as well. Some people just think you some type of way and they don't really know you, but you know what you can do. You know, you're smarter than them or you better than them at certain things. And, you know, this is what I deal with a lot when it comes to me sharing information. And it's one of the reasons why I put the channel up and I put the website up. And, you know, as I said, I started out with a group before I even came to YouTube. I had a study group and I was teaching in and talking to people. And when I moved to Sweden and everything, that was my way for me to communicate with them, was to do, you know, put videos together and put them on YouTube. I had no clue that so many people would watch and pay attention to the information. But it was like, you know, once you make some videos and put them on YouTube so we can watch and get the information from you then. And it was about 17 of us at the time. And I remember we used to cram in my little apartment and, you know, and just go through the information, through the books and everything like that. And, you know, now I'm proud of the level of success and knowledge that a lot of these people that I know have reached. And, you know, we always talk about being grounded and being disciplined with the way we go about our life and understanding everything is not as serious as some people may think it is, and to act accordingly, which is my major thing I always say when it comes to certain things. You know, just you don't have to be like everybody else or do the same thing as everybody else is doing. You know, you're in a situation that you want to get out of. You're not where you're at and want to be at in life. You know, deal with that. And that's my opt. That is meditation. That is what your subconscious is trying to bring to you. Truth. Come to grips with reality. Face these problems that you have and fix them, because, you know, this society is geared towards the rich. This is why the rich can meditate, why they into yoga and they have Buddhas all in their house, because they don't have the stress that we have, that regular people have. I'm not going to say me, I don't have that stress anymore, luckily, but most people, they have that stress, and you got to deal and worry about certain things. And, you know, while I got to worry about school and getting good grades and everything now, it's not a major stress on me. You know, I'm not like super concerned, like, oh my God, you know, stressing out for finals and everything like that. Just relax. What I'm supposed to do. If you do what you're supposed to do, how can you fail? How can you go wrong? You study and pay attention. You can't fail. Same thing with work. If you know, succeed, if you excel, if you do what you need to do to get ahead, then, you know, how can you go wrong? You can't, you know, get concerned about stuff that's outside of your control. You just can't. You can't let it eat you up. You can't stew on things that people say about you and everything like that. If you're dealing with any of this stuff, this is going to haunt you in meditation. It's going to bite you on the ass. I promise you that. But this society was geared for the rich. And you see how it is. If you're rich, everything is fine. Then you don't have to worry about, you know, the problems that come with meditation, because you get to go. You got money. That's why it seems like, you know, meditating and yoga and all that stuff is synonymous with wealth, with rich people. And really, when you think about it, remember, they don't want you to be rich, obviously. Remember, everybody can't be rich, as I talked about in the last video that I put on YouTube. Everybody can't be rich, because then, you know, too many cars, too many houses. It's not enough jobs. So people have to be poor. So, you know, they make it really hard to obtain wealth and to be rich. And, you know, a lot of people get confused by the Bible. Remember, in Matthew, it says it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich person to enter into the kingdom of God. Now, what we may think about that on the surface is, well, damn, if you rich, you ain't going to go to heaven. But that's how they try to get you. Remember, the Bible try to trick you out your money in a lot of different ways. But the whole metaphor to that, what you have to understand is you really don't want to get to the kingdom of God. That's not what you really want. That's not your purpose. Now, we think in the kingdom of God is heaven and everything like that. But what did I reveal to you that it is? It is the vagina. It is the woman's womb. That is the kingdom of God, the kingdom of heaven. So it's saying that the rich people won't get there because they have the knowledge to ascend to the next level. Now, if you're wealthy and you don't have to deal with all the problems that life puts on you and the stress and everything like that, you're not in the rat race. You can meditate and you can afford to take time off to study and learn. And remember, most of these people with this knowledge is they got money. They doing well and they got time to understand. So yeah, of course, a rich person is not going to enter into the kingdom of heaven. He's not going to get reborn and come back here. He's going to get out of here. The problem is you have most of these rich people being white. And a lot of black people look at it as, you know, these rich white people doing white people stuff, yoga and meditation and all that. I ain't doing all that stuff, you know, and it's basically playing off a lot of black people's hate for white people and not realizing that it's knowledge in this stuff. As I revealed in a video on YouTube, the calculated destruction of the black man and woman, when I was talking about how we was really baffled by why white people got all dressed up and, you know, listen to Mozart and Beethoven and stuff like that, because they was developing the higher brain stimulation, you know, while people learn languages because they know tonal language, again, stimulates the brain and develops a higher brain function. This is stuff that is synonymous with wealth and refinement and everything like that. So people who have this wealth, they got the knowledge. Now, there's also a flip side to all that. A lot of times people can get distracted by money, by wealth. They can get consumed by it. And that's another metaphor in the Bible that is trying to tell you. Remember, Jesus was trying to get, I forget his name, to basically give up all his wealth in exchange for becoming one of Jesus's disciples and basically getting a, you know, golden ticket into the kingdom of heaven. Jesus was telling him, hey, give up all your money, give up all your wealth and everything like that. And I guarantee you a seat with me in heaven. I mean, if life is all about you getting into heaven, why wouldn't you want to give up this material stuff to gain the key to the kingdom, to walk with the man himself? What? Of course I'm giving up all my gold and wealth to walk with Jesus, you know, if he was real and everything like that. But, you know, the dude was like, nah, I mean, you tripping. I'm not giving up my material wealth. And this is, you know, a metaphor for people being so consumed by the money and consumed by the materialistic wealth. They want to seek this knowledge and seek this this information, this spirituality, but they can't because they are consumed by the money. And this is what happens to a lot of people. And I know I got some rich friends that's consumed by their money. They always busy and they always doing stuff like that. And, you know, it's the same way. I got poor friends, people that got that much money who could just consume by work. And they can't come out and chill. They can't come out and hang out. They can't fly out to California to chill, Vegas or what have you, because they got to be to work tomorrow. You know how that is. So it's just how the system is set up for us to be where we are. And it's crazy. You know, lucky for me now, I think I'm done school as far as me having to be on campus this week. I'm done. My birthday is coming up Saturday. This will be my last DVD, last video here in this apartment because I'm moving to a much better place because I can't deal with here too much longer. This was a good location for us from here in USC, here in school. So, you know, next move, next video you probably see will be you'll see a different background, different location, down in Las Vegas, where I'm going to spend my last bit of time here before I move back to Sweden. So yeah, going to move to Vegas. I got some friends down there, some family. I'm gonna go down there. It's much cheaper than LA. And yeah, and just, you know, I got some business stuff to take care of. That's really the main reason why I'm going down there, to help with my company and everything like that. I don't really get into my company because I don't want to, you know, mix those two things. But people who know me know what I do. And basically, I'm a software designer, design software, graphic design stuff. And I basically create programs for new stuff. Let's just put it like that. So let's just say, put it like this. You want this bus right here. Say it was, you know, a machine, it was computerized, and you want like the face to lift up and for you to be able to press a button and, like, you know, mocha or, you know, coffee or something come out the nose or something like that, something crazy like that. Well, if you want stuff like this done it needs coding. You need a code for that. And that's what I do. I write codes for all that. I'm a geek. I'm a nerd. Basically. The coolest nerd you ever meet in your life. That's what I always say. And that's the kind of stuff I do. So when I was here, I don't think I told you guys about this. When I was in America, when I first was trying to start the company, nobody would give me a chance. You're a black dude with a software company and you walk into a lot of places, they won't hire you. This nigga don't know about no software. So, I got the runaround. I walked in there with $1,500 suit on and just like, no. And they wasn't having it. Black people too, black companies too. Black people wouldn't hire me either. So, Navy buddies got me to hook up in Sweden. I started out with one company for a year. And when a year was up, they stretched me for 3 more years. And that's how I ended up spending the 3 years there. Then, I was like, damn, I got to see if I can branch out. So during that time, I ended up getting contracts from about 27 other companies in Europe for software. And got an office and hired a couple people, and it's a company now. So the whole goal was, it's a lot of companies that I was trying to get work from that I noticed was looking me over in exchange for PhD companies. That's fine. They want people that got the PhD, which is why I came back to America to finish up my PhD, and it's basically done. I got a couple more classes that I can finish online, and it's a done deal. So, I'll be doctor, and for those of you who don't know my real name, you buy the DVD, it's there. Anthony Grant is my birth name. Yes. I was only Merkaba about 14 years ago. 14 years now, Merkaba. I started calling myself about 14 years ago. My nickname that I get, everybody when you born and you grow up, you got that nickname is Woo. That's what my grandma gave me, that name Woo, for whatever reason. Like when I hear that name, I know it's like family. When I hear Anthony, it's like, business. When I hear Merkaba, I know it's like YouTube. So this is like what I go through. This is like my daily. But I wanted to just talk a little bit briefly, because I get a lot of messages from people say, hey, you'll never talk about yourself. You never talk about your life, stuff like that. And I did in a lot of videos on YouTube. But since you guys support, I just wanted to share that with you and just let you know, like I said, I'm a regular dude, and this stuff works. Meditation is it. One, my thought process, the way it's, it's faster, it's better. Hand-eye coordination, faster, better. It's stuff that you start to pick up on that enhances with meditation. You get better at a lot of stuff, thought, concentration, focus, writing faster, just comprehending. You're going to start to pick up on it. I'm telling you, it's not a joke. It's real shit. I wanted to wait, this long before I did my first, DVD on meditation, because I wanted you guys to get the rest of the information that I put out, first. One, to just get you guys to understand, I know what I'm doing, what I'm talking about as far as the information that I put out. And two, just so you can have that knowledge already and understand that, about energy, and that this stuff is real. It does exist, and the powers that be know all about it, and they are using it against us and have been for, hundreds of years, thousands of years now. And they get it. They know. It's not no joke to them. It's not spooky to them, because they know and they're using it. And we got to learn how to take control of it and use it to benefit us, because it's benefiting them. They can speak to the universe. They know the language, and they control our language, and they control in how we put out information and put out our energy and everything like that, what we take in. So we got to act accordingly. So, that's why, videos like this is important. Having a knowledge of self is important, and understanding what you want from your life, from this experience right now, is important. What is it all about for you? Like, what do you want to do? What are you trying to accomplish? What is your goals? What is your focus? What do you want? We all got problems and issues that we face, daily. So, a lot of people don't even have a mindset or a focus of what they want to do, in the future with their life. Every day is just, get by, struggle, just trying to make it. And, this, it's messed up when it's to that point, but it's a way out of that. And, a lot of people don't realize that, and they stuck, and it's just, it's tough. But, obviously you guys have been able to break away in some capacity, and, are now stimulating yourself and getting the correct knowledge. So this is good. It's great. I love to see it in anybody, because you're going to need it, because there's a lot that's coming up, and we're going to be around for it. I'm not talking about like major bad stuff. I'm just talking about life experiences and stuff like that. So there's a lot of things in your life that you're going to experience that's going to be major. So, you got to be prepared to deal with it mentally. And this is why the Bible talked about, not being in the world. Because imagine if you was, unassociated with the world, just out there in the woods somewhere, living off the land, you'd be living in bliss, peace. Only thing you got to worry about is keeping wildlife, away from your food and stuff like that. But you will be stress free. Really. I mean, you will live good. And this is what the Bible was talking about when it's saying, don't be in the world and being part of the world and be doing what the world is doing. Because now once you start entertaining all this stuff that everybody else is doing, and, you got to be about the club life and party life and everything like that, watching this and doing that and trying to be in with everything. Some people never heard of Game of Thrones or start watching a Walking Dead, but they start watching it because it's all over the timeline. There's so many people talking about it, and they say, you know what, let me see what this stuff is about. And they get into it and start watching. And we do this a lot when it comes to life things. And a lot of people just do stuff to just be in and be a part of the norm, and the stuff that we got to stop doing. So, it's good to see so many people, thousands of people now really educating themselves and understanding what's going on, and have a, investment in their energy and their spirituality, which is important, because everybody want to invest in a bunch of stupid shit but themselves. And, it's on a spiritual level, and that's huge. And, it's a lot of people out there that's trying to help, and a lot of people out there that put out conscious information. And it's whenever you can take advantage of it, I recommend that you do so, and that you, you get books and you read and you educate yourself. And, on a spiritual level, just meditate. Begin with that. You got to start somewhere. This is the beginning. And it's a lot more advanced stuff, deeper stuff. We're going to go step by step through this process, because, again, it's some more things you got to understand that's just going to help you out. And, it's going to be good, to get out of America. I can't wait to actually move back to Sweden, because I noticed, I gain weight here, and, meditation is not as clear here, except for when you in certain places outside. And, this place is just designed to be one big just fuck up. So, I do recommend to people, if you can move out the country, then do so. You don't have to, but if you got to stay here and you got to be here, then definitely educate yourself and understand what's going on and what to stay away from. But, meditation is going to help you out with a lot of stuff and give you a clear mind to, put out to the universe what you need, and maybe eventually, what you're looking for will come back to you, and, you'll be all right. But, this was the first video, and I know y'all asked for it a long time ago, and I'm sorry it took so long, but it had to come at this time. So a lot more things that we're going to get into is going to make, more sense. So thank you guys for taking the time to purchase or download and support. And I really appreciate the support, seriously. And this is the first DVD. Part 2 is going to be even crazier, a lot more to get into. And see you guys next video from a different location. Thanks for watching.